Hello friends, Danny here. Two parts of this video. Number one, if you have the internal seat post clamp, I call it seat post brake, it's not a clamp. Two things you should be checking on it. And second part, if you have already damaged the thread, I'm going to show you a couple of ways in which you can try to fix it yourself at home, and at least how I've done it. So this is your seat post brake. It's not a clamp, it's a seat post brake. Two problems with it is, number one, it only pushes, this one is sitting here inside. It pushes your seat post to the back, which creates the problem because it will only flex your seat post, and if you have really lightweight carbon flexi seat post, which you want to have for compliancy, it will slide down because it will be difficult for such a small thing to actually keep it in place. The steeper angle of your seat tube, the easier the seat post will actually slide down. So that's problem number one. So going back to the 80s, 70s probably, maybe 60s, this was the deal. But anyway, we have this now. Some bikes will have it from the back side, but same design. So that's problem number one. You can only use 4 Newton meters, it says here, of the torque here. It's not a lot. So remember, do not grease the seat post, do not grease your seat post clamp, only use the carbon paste to actually increase the friction between the two. The second problem is much more dangerous. The water will be leaking down from the seat post and the top tube to your seat post brake. Remember, this is the angle, it's here inside, it goes out right there. And the water will go in between the seat post clamp and the frame there inside. There is no way it will evaporate because this little rubber, it will allow the water to go in and it will make much more difficult for the water to go out. And your thread will start to rust very quickly, guys. So what I recommend to do is to mark the height of your seat post, or actually your seat, on the seat post, and remove the seat post regularly. I know if you have a dropper post, it's more difficult if you have the mechanical one, but yes, you should remove it and then unthread actually the whole seat post brake, remove it, clean the thread and grease it. Yes, I do grease the thread right here. If you grease it well, you don't have to do it that often. I would do it twice a year if it's greased. But when you get the bike from the factory, it won't be greased. And so, with this bike, we had this problem. The thread inside this frame got rusty, and so the head of the screw of your seat post brake was damaged. So I had to fix it for my cousin. How I did it? This is the new insert that you see. I had to drill through, and here are the things you should know about it. Step one, of course, I do recommend trying to start with just removing the original bolt. How to do it? Imagine this is the insert on the frame side, so this is glued to the frame. This is your seat post brake, not the seat post clamp, and it was like this. Of course, this was longer because I drilled it, so it was inside this insert. You use these for removing the bolts with the damaged heads, right? Couldn't do it, didn't work. Spray anything you have that will penetrate. Brunox, WD-40, maybe something even more penetrating would be awesome, and leave it overnight. And that's the best thing. If you can remove it, that would be great. I couldn't. So I needed to drill it. By drilling it, I also damaged the inside thread just a little bit, but still on the frame. And so I just had the hole in the frame and this thing that I removed. So I bought new seat post clamp. Pay attention to the serial number on it so that you can buy the same one. And then another options. There are the coils that are made for fixing damaged threads, and there are these inserts. These inserts are by far the best options, and I bought this insert knowing that my bolt is the was it M8? Yes, is the M8. I bought the insert with the M8 inside thread, right? So that I could thread it back into this one. So I'm threading this part into the frame, and then I can thread my seat post brake into it. And I was so happy when it came because it looks like very sturdy. You use one of these to prepare the thread for your insert, and then even this insert will also thread a little bit for itself to make it even better. Great thing. The biggest problem is that this stupid bolt on the seat post clamp side is not the standard 125 thread, it's 1.0. And there is no option of buying this 1.0. Let me show you. We're talking about the thread here inside. So this thread is not compatible with this thread. Even though this is M8, here we have 1.0 thread, so really dense, and here 1.25. And that was the first problem I came across. And so is the second option, which is the coil. It's called helicoil, bare coil, many different brands. This is the coil, right? You see, it's a coil. You thread it into that hole or damaged thread, and then you break this end, because there's a special tool for it. You put it, it goes just inside, and it holds to this thing, and you thread it in, and then you break this thing, and you have the thread. The problem with it is that my frame wasn't actually threaded very evenly. So the hole in the frame wasn't very even, and this coil, in my opinion, it's not really strong. It wouldn't give me strong connection between the seat post clamp and this thing, because you know we have thread 1.0 instead of 125, because for the small movement of the thread we have small movement of the seat post clamp against the seat post, right? So yeah, there is a reason why it's 1.0 and not 1.25. So I thought, well, I can do it, and I can tell my cousin, because it's my cousin's bike, you see, it fits. I fixed this, but it won't last long. It didn't really hold nicely. And so I found out, and that's the most important part of this video for those who need to actually fix it, because I couldn't buy this, it's unavailable in 1.1 thread. In the store with the lamps, you buy this reduction. And this thing is M8 bolt with 1.0 thread, and so this fits. My biggest problem was that I didn't have nice thread for the bolt, so I actually threaded it myself very, very carefully. I didn't want to make too large of the thread. And then, just to make sure I'm making it as strong as possible, because you see, I need a longer one. This is really short. Longer one was not available. What I did is I thought about different options, like the thread lock or the glue for the thread, and then this glue for the press fit. And I thought this will probably be the stronger connection. And for this one, in this only case, I didn't use the primer. I wanted to glue my insert with the frame as well as I could. And I did. I threaded it in. How do you do it? You use, wait a second, M8 bolt. You see, it just went like this. This is the 125 thread actually, but I just need to thread it like 2-3 threads. And then I use these nuts for threading this into the frame. I first put the seat post clamp into the frame, And then I was threading it against it, just first off to make sure I have the correct angle, the right angle, because if I mess up with the angle, it's all messed up. So the seat post clamp was in, I was threading it just like maybe 3 or 4 threads in. Once I got my angle, I removed it once again, and then I put my glue, a lot of it, on this thread, and then I put it back into the frame, and it seems to be okay. Now the last step I'm gonna do is this. The last step of my work was to find the seat post clamp that I will use along with this seat post brake. The seat post clamp I bought cannot have any lip around its edge, like most of the seat post clamp, in order to stop them on the frame, which will have the seat tube like standing out right here. They have this little lip around here. There are special seat post clamp for sliding seat posts which don't have it, but I also have a carbon one super light which just didn't have it. It's not for fixing, it was just on my bike, on my Fully. So I'm gonna use this seat post clamp for the seat post to not slide down, and actually this seat post brake will only stop the seat post from turning from left to right. This is not a professional way to fix it, because now I will have 2 seat post clamps on this bike, but I think it will work, and I was able to do it at home. Please comment on anything I could have done better, or what better parts we could buy, because I know many people will have or already are experiencing these problems. So now I'm gonna put this one on the seat post. Actually, I'm putting the dropper right now, and I'm pretty sure this will work. Thanks for watching. See ya.